told what they wanted, what they wanted to see from a boat ramp and boat storage, and there's a whole list of even a village intertie down to the chickens and hopefully burial. And we're still working on all that. And we got everybody's input on that so we could move forward and try and get it done.
So when I listened to your question, a whole bunch of things went through my mind. But for me, St. Mary's is not really your typical community. We have two tribes within the same city limits. We have a city government. We have two tribal governments. 6 miles down the road, we have another tribe, another village, and then another 19 miles or so down the road, we do have another road that goes down to Mountain Village, another large tribe there with their own city and their own tribal government. So our community is really complex, and I think that's something that we've struggled with over the years. Just trying to get past those borders, those barriers that we've built for ourselves. And I know in high school we would always joke, you know, oh, they're uptown or they're downtown, and you know, we never understood where that come from, or you know, why that line was there. But I know, as you know, an emerging leader, that we really work to try to overcome those barriers and those imaginary walls that we were building amongst ourselves, and that we're creating barriers to progress within our own community. One of the things that I'm really proud of for St. Mary's is that we have a really strong community program for language and culture. And I remember back in I had to have been in preschool when we do recite the Yupik alphabet and learn the colors and sing songs in Yupik, and that was the start of the Yupik program at our school. And you know, it got developed over the years. Andrew Hauken was one of the drivers behind that program. And one of the things that I really remember in his teachings and his work in the school was that he would bring elders in. And yeah, this might have been in the 80s and early 90s, but you know, I think it's still applicable today with our Yupik program. They're still bringing elders into the school, and they're still building on the Yupik program, the dance program, and I think our cultural program at St. Mary's is very strong, and I'm really proud of it. And you know, we think, oh, it's, you know, dancing and it's language learning, but to me it's so much more than that. It's helping our generations to learn to work together and continue to communicate. You know, sometimes we don't really understand why we're being taught something or being told to do something a certain way when we're younger. And I remember, you know, kind of grumbling when we were being told, oh, you need to learn this and you need to learn how to do it this way. And then we'd be like, why? You'll understand when you're older. And it really is true. You know, part of the young mind is, you know, you think you know everything, and you don't really know everything. The elders kind of laugh at you, and you just wait until you get older. But I think St. Mary's has been really strong in their cultural program, and that has really helped to create identity among our youth and pride. And that's something you see coming out all across Alaska. But I really think in St. Mary's, Agriculture can help build such a strong program, and that Yupik language dictionary is all over the state. And you know, so many people pull from his works to help build their programs in their schools. And I always remember one thing he told me, and a bunch of my other younger friends in high school, we were kind of an honorary bunch of girls, and he said, or we were asking for something, and he was mayor at the time, and he was like, no, you're not going to do that. And then we're like, well, how can we do that? And he's like, go to the council meeting. Guess who was always at the council meeting after that? There was like 4 of us girls always at the city council meeting asking him if we could do something. And he would say no, then we'd ask why, then he'd give us the policies, and then we'd say, okay, we're going to figure out how we can do this anyway. And that was our challenge, and I think he had a lot of fun with it. But it taught us that, you know, you don't have to take no for an answer all the time. If you want to do something and you want to get it done, you're going to find a way. And that was something I took away from that experience.
Jeez. So I think we're almost out of time, and I wanted to make sure to ask another final question before we close out our session here. You know, one of the things that I really appreciated about AFN creating this panel is because they wanted to make sure that our people know how important it is to stay home in our communities and do the hard work like you guys are doing, and that is success. That means so much to all of us. What you are doing in your communities, it's not just good for your communities, it's good for Alaska. And if Alaska, as a state, paid more attention to what was happening in the villages and how innovative and how hard you work and how you already have the strategic plan to help you get there, it could transform the state because it's such an effective model. You know, like one of my friends said, and I quote her all the time, we have 10,000 years of best practices, and you guys are putting those into effect. So just to close this out on a kind of a brief question for each of you is, if you could speak to a college student like you were at one point, or maybe you weren't, but a young person thinking about whether you want to be at home or whether you want to be elsewhere to make your career and serve your people, or when you're at that time in your life about to make a decision, if you could share your thoughts on why it's important to be able to stay home and help and serve your community. We have lots of people watching on television, we have people across the world, not to make you nervous, but they might be needing this message right now. Or maybe some of our village leaders out there haven't had anyone appreciate their hard work in a really long time, and they need to hear this message as well. So if you could share just your thoughts on helping people make that decision.
This one's easy for me. The grass is never greener on the other side. I have been offered high-paying jobs if I were to move somewhere, anywhere, even the city. And I would think to myself, oh gosh, with that money I could own a really nice house and a nice car and have no worries and be doing something that I'm really, you know, that I have a 9-to-5 job and I go home and I can spend time with my kids and not think about it. So that is like the green pasture. I think to myself, would I feel fulfilled? That burden of that responsibility that I feel for my people, will that go away? It never left me when I went for 4 years to college. It was nagging at me every night when I went to bed and every morning when I got up. So I have a feeling if I were to pack up and move to what is perceived to be the greener side, I would just be empty. So for me, it's really easy to be at home, and I cannot, you know, everyone has to find their own path home. I would say that as a young girl, I was expected to get as educated as possible, probably have my PhD by now, and they thought doctor, lawyer, politician, that's what Alex is headed for. And when I started realizing how much knowledge that our elders had and how amazing my community was, and now that I'm a mother, I just want to be a wise elder. So that's my mission I'm on.
Well, I believe that if people stay in the village, one person can make a difference. One idea can change everything about the whole village. Like, we had one person say we should start a farm. So now we're known for being farmers. We have cow, chicken, reindeer, pigs, and rabbits. And it was just all off of one person's idea. And I think if you stay home, and you can really make a difference.
Ask them on Snapchat.
If I could say something to the young people out there, or any of our leaders who are probably feeling jaded or tired, it would be that there is no one definition of success. Success is what you define for yourself. It's what makes you happy. You have to find your path. You can't let other people tell you where you need to go, what you need to do, how you need to do it. You need to find that answer within yourself. You need to find the strength and the courage to keep going and to accomplish your big dreams, your crazy big dreams. If people are gonna, and they will challenge you. They'll say you can't do it, you're crazy, you're just a young girl from the village. You don't have enough money to go to school, or you'll never get people to do that. You can't listen to what they say. You can't listen to the negativity. You have to believe in yourself. You have to have the courage to stand up, and you have to have the courage to keep going. And I just keep thinking.
What do you got, Billy? I'm at the
Like I said,
AFN.
I was a little bit older than these guys,
I'm about to leave.
I listened to everybody when I was, as young as a
Yeah. I could do that.
That told me that I couldn't do something.
Okay, I'll be there in a few minutes.
It frightens me to think, of what roads and other paths I could have taken, because there's so many negativity out there. There's so much pain and hurt, alcohol, drugs, trauma. Our villages are full of it, and to think that you have to be